Mistakes that will make your back pain worse, and it's not what you think. Hey everybody, this is Mike Erlob, and you're on another episode of Power Your Life by Flex PT. So I wanted to share a little story with you. A lot of times when we're taking care of back problems, we tend to make a lot of mistakes. And I'm no exception. I've made so many mistakes in the care of my back and things that have happened. And I just wanted to share a little background with everybody on about that. So, you see, when I was in college, I became a competitive powerlifter. And powerlifting is a sport where you see how much you can squat, bench press, and deadlift. And so, I got really good at it. I put on a lot of weight. I got really strong, but it never ever failed, because every time I was getting ready for a big meet, and I would be working on my deadlift routine and working on my deadlift, what we call our training cycle, I would always injure the right side of my lower back. I would always pull that muscle. And, I did a lot of different things in my training, and I would always try to avoid it, but it seemed like it always happened. And eventually, you would have to take some time off, and it would interrupt my training cycle and getting ready for the meet. And it got to the point where there were times I couldn't even bend over and put my own socks and shoes on, let alone get in and out of the car. Which I don't know if you've ever had that kind of an injury where you pull your back and you have this intense pain back there. But even just bending your head forward like that can just set it off, and it can just be absolutely excruciating. And so I would do like everybody else. You would rest and take some anti-inflammatories, and then you would you might wear some support, like lumbar support, or like a belt when I would go back to the gym and I'd start training. And I managed to get back in the training cycle, training routine, and I'd be able to compete at the meet. And then this would happen to me, maybe once or twice a year. And it seemed like it got worse. Every injury got a little worse than the one before. And, when I finally couldn't powerlift anymore and compete, it started bothering me in, day-to-day life too. It really kind of came to a head when I was standing on the sideline covering a football game for a local high school football team, and doing the sideline athletic training coverage, and my right thigh started going numb. And I would have to get off my feet. I'd have to go down to one knee. I would do anything I could to alleviate that pain. And then it eventually started to spill over into limit my ability to stand, started to get in the way of me being able to work, and really started to get in the way of me being able to sleep. And eventually I was able to get rid of this, and I was able to take care of it. But when I look back at how I managed it and how it was managed, I went to the doctor, and we got x-rays and did all the testing, and they would do the same thing that I would do for me. They would say, Mike, just take time off, let it rest, use some ice. Here, take some ibuprofen. Oh, if it's really bad, we'll take a muscle relaxer. If it doesn't get any better, we might look at doing an MRI. Those were all, that's just how it was managed. And then, it never really fully got things better. And, that really created some problems for me down the road. And, the same thing happened with my wife. My wife has had problems with her back too over the years. One time in particular, this was many years ago, but she wasn't able to stand upright. Her back went out, and it got so bad that she had to use a walker. I don't even think at that time, she wasn't even 30 years old at that time. And she couldn't even stand upright. I had to bring a walker home from work, and she had to use that walker in order to get around for several days. And the pain was so bad, she ended up in the emergency room, just trying to get some relief. And, went to a back specialist, and they all said the same thing. Just rest. Here, let's give you some ibuprofen. Let's take some anti-inflammatories. Here's a muscle relaxant. Here's some pain medication. Just give it time. She would actually wear like a back brace, to hold everything in tight, and just waited until that pain got better enough, or got good enough to the point to where she could, get upright and move, and then eventually she was able to get back to walking and doing her normal day-to-day stuff. But the advice that we were given at that time and the mistakes that I often made, even on myself, there were really three big ones. There were really three big mistakes. And these three big mistakes, they can keep you from getting better, or they'll at least prolong it, and they can even make you worse. So the first mistake that we made, both myself and my wife, in the care of our back, is we rested. Okay, that was the first big mistake. So if you have back problems and you think that the best way to fix this problem is for you just to rest, you're very mistaken, because our bodies are designed to move, right? I believe in that movement is life. And, our bodies are a machine, and we're designed to get up and move around. And that movement is key because it does a lot of things. One, it strengthens the muscles. The other thing is it increases your circulation. And the blood flow into those specific areas of your back is very, very important. And if you're just laying flat on your back on the couch or in bed, you're not going to get that circulation. You're not going to get that blood flow to keep that tissue and to keep your structures healthy in your back. The only time that rest is appropriate is if it's a traumatic injury. If you were involved in a car accident, if you had a sudden muscle strain for, you were lifting something really heavy and you felt the muscle pull. For the first 3 to 4 days, that rest is needed. But after that, you got to get moving. And that's the mistake, is that you're told, a lot of times you'll go to the doctor and he'll say, hey, you just need to rest. You need to take it easy. Or, hey, maybe you need to find a different job if your job is, involving a lot of standing, moving, and twisting. However, don't be mistaken. That rest, that's going to be counterproductive. And what I recommend is that you do relative rest. And what relative rest means is that you keep yourself moving, you keep yourself active, but you avoid the things or the activities that will cause harm to your back. So I want to keep that in mind. I'm saying is that you should not rest, but at the same time, you should not do the things that reproduce the injury as well. The second mistake that we made at that time is we started to rely on pain relievers, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, pain medication. This is a big mistake that a lot of people make because the first thing they're trying to do is just get themselves out of pain. Here's the thing. Pain is your body's check engine light, okay? It is the signal that your body is telling your brain that there is something wrong. There is a problem. Something is out of whack. Something is out of balance. And you need to figure out what that is. Because if you just start taking the non-steroidal anti-inflammatories like ibuprofen and naproxen, you mask it by taking a lot of pain medication or muscle relaxers, you're running the risk of actually creating more damage and more harm because now you've interrupted that, like I said, it's your check engine light. You're now ignoring that, and it can make your situation worse and keep you from getting better. Not to mention, there are a tremendous amount of health risks with taking those medications for a long period of time. The third mistake that we made was relying on back supports, things like lumbar corsets and back braces, and I would use different lifting belts, and that was one of the things that I actually stopped doing. Was using lifting belts in my training, because when I stopped doing that, I was able to strengthen my core and strengthen those weak muscles to the point to where I was able to start getting through some of these training cycles and not have the same kind of injuries. I did have problems later on in life, but that had a lot to do with the damage that had already been done. In my wife's situation, she was using a lot of back braces. Well, when you put that compression around your midsection, it feels good because it holds everything in nice and tight and it takes pressure off everything. The problem is, now you're not activating those core muscles like you need to in order to gain that stabilization. And so those back supports, although they're well-meaning and they feel good at the time, they're actually going to do you more harm than good over the long run. That's going to keep you from getting better. So I don't want you to make these same mistakes because they will make you worse. And I wanted to share this information with you because I really hope that it helps. Albert Einstein said that strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. So I really hope that you found some value out of this information and that you can avoid these 3 big mistakes when you are dealing with a back-related issue. I want to remind everybody that next Thursday we're going to be live at 1 p.m. And oh, by the way, if you would like my new report, the 5 best kept secrets to fast back pain relief, just message me through Facebook Messenger and we'll shoot you a copy of that free report. It's got a lot of great information, a lot of good things that can really help you out. So just shoot us a message through Facebook and we'll definitely get that sent to you. So until next week, stay healthy and keep moving forward.